meeting of the leaders of the G7 summit, representing the countries with the most developed economies. These are important talks, but there is a lot going on in the world, which is why Donald Trump had to cut his visit short and return urgently to Washington, D.C.
I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. He did a fantastic job. Thank you. In Canada. But you probably see what I see. And I have to be back as soon as I can. I'm going to have dinner with these wonderful leaders. And then I get on the plane. I have to be back early.
The American leader left, and French President Emmanuel Macron, as is his custom, decided to step forward and explain to reporters the reason for Trump's departure.
Écoutez, c'est ce que je...
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen, he left because he is preparing a ceasefire offer in the Middle East, which is a good thing. We'll see what the parties to the conflict say about it.
Et d'enclencher justement des discussions.
But the French president's revelations can be dismissed as fairy tales, as Donald Trump wrote on board Air Force One. Publicity-seeking President Emmanuel Macron of France mistakenly said that I left the G7 summit in Canada to go back to D.C. to work on a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Wrong. He has no idea why I am now on my way to Washington. But it certainly has nothing to do with a ceasefire. Much bigger than that. Whether purposely or not, Emmanuel always gets it wrong. Stay tuned. This is not the first retort the French leader has had to take. At the end of May, his wife Brigitte dealt him a pretty accurate blow, which Emmanuel Macron tried to turn into a joke, but he wasn't laughing. From the very beginning, he wanted to go down in French history. He wanted to leave his mark, but so far, he hasn't succeeded. And unfortunately, this incident with his wife was the culmination of that. Emmanuel Macron considers himself one of the most important leaders in the world, but Donald Trump showed him his place. During a conversation in the Oval Office, Trump pointed out to Macron that he does not understand how to end the war in Ukraine. This situation showed that the French president is quite far from the Oval Office, quite far from Donald Trump. The interests of France and the interests of the United States are diverging greatly. They have been diverging for many, many years. But Macron also has ideas that are very dangerous for Europe. Together with the new German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, he is trying to push American soldiers and American companies out of the continent without offering any alternative for the security of the inhabitants of, for example, the eastern flank. And all this at a time when France is struggling with enormous crises. The illegal immigrants brought in by Macron have turned the lives of the inhabitants of Paris and other French cities into hell. A report was recently published stating that there are already 100,000 Afghans in France. These are mainly young men, and they are much more likely to commit crimes. All reports point to a deteriorating security situation in France related to migration. The French are also protesting against Macron's social policies, with concerns about rising unemployment and a faltering economy. There are also concerns about the unlawful crackdown on political opponents after the Supreme Court blocked the candidacy of the increasingly powerful Marine Le Pen for president. Macron is not in control of what is happening in the country. And that's not the only problem facing the French president.